Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, The Case for Fleet Technology. As many of you know, Amerisure is one of the nation's leading providers of commercial insurance. We specialize in managing risk for businesses in construction, manufacturing, and healthcare. We're licensed to conduct business in all 50 states, and we've been in business for over 100 years. There's about 700 Amerisure employees currently, with our headquarters located in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and 12 strategically located core service centers around the country. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A box in the Zoom bar. You do have the option to submit your questions anonymously if you want to, and I'll bring them up at the end of the presentation. You're also going to see a chat button in that bar just to let you know we're not monitoring the chat throughout the webinar, so please make sure you're using the Q&A button. And then due to the number of attendees and to avoid any background interference, all attendees are muted and are going to remain muted for the duration of the webinar. Please be aware also that this webinar is for general information only. It's not intended to provide specific solutions for any potentially unsafe conditions, and it should not be relied upon for legal advice either. So you're advised to consult with your attorneys to address any specific circumstance you might have, and Amerisure assumes no duty or obligation to any party in providing this information to you today. Okay, so now on to the fun stuff. I want to introduce our presenters. Today, we're going to have both of our Amerisure commercial auto specialists with us, and that's going to be Eric Rupaner and Nick Baker. Eric joined the Amerisure Risk Management team in October 2014, and he provides safety and risk management services to commercial policyholders in various areas of the country. He has a talent for identifying opportunities for improvement in hazard recognition, and he works diligently to help clients provide safe work environments for their employees. Eric is also a graduate of the University of Akron with a Bachelor of Science in Finance and of Hiram College with a Bachelor of Arts in Business Management. And he also holds the designations of Chartered Property and Casualty Underwriter and Associate in Risk Management. Nick joined Amerisure's risk management team in April of 2023, and he's part of our Atlanta CSC. Prior to working for Amerisure, Nick managed the safety department for an industrial construction company, and he's been performing risk management for insurance carriers for the last 15 years, where one of his roles was actually serving as a fleet specialist. So he's got a lot of insight for you today. Nick's education includes Bachelor of Science in Occupational Safety and Health from Murray State University, and also a Master of Science in Occupational Safety and Health with a focus on environment from Columbia Southern University. So Eric and Nick have a lot of great information to share with you. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Eric.
Thank you, Anjanli. The purpose of our presentation is to help you understand how fleet technology can benefit your organization, discuss the different types of fleet technology, and how Amerisure can help you implement fleet technology. Next, we're asking our attendees of the webinar to participate in a few poll questions. Our first question addresses potential obstacles to organizations for implementing telematics. Please answer the following poll question. What kind of fleet technology makes you uncomfortable? Is it telematics, dash cams in general, front-facing dash cams, rear-facing dash cams, or none? I like them all. I'll give everyone a few moments to answer the questions.
All right, it looks like we've got about 75% of our participants answering. We're going to give everybody just a few more seconds here, Eric, and then I'm going to share the results with you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out, and here come the results, Eric. Okay. So it looks like, yeah, a lot of our folks are comfortable with it, but I think you have some areas to address there.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like dash cams in general are the second highest answer. So fortunately, we have some case studies to show how dash cams and telematics have benefited policyholders in the hope of making everyone more comfortable with their use. I will now discuss a couple of examples which will show how the use of telematics have benefited Amerisure policyholders. Here is our first example. In a recorded statement, the plaintiff stated that she was stopped at a stop sign at an adjacent street to where the insured driver was making a turn on a divided highway. She said the insured driver overshot the turn and hit her vehicle. She sued and claimed over $1 million in medical bills, which included multiple surgeries and an additional $1+ million in non-economic damages, which are punitive damages. However, she was not aware the insured had a dash cam video of the accident. The video showed the plaintiff was at fault and that she accelerated from where she was stopped and hit the insured vehicle, causing the accident. The case was tried in court, with the jury ruling for the insured and sending the plaintiff home with nothing. Here's our second example of how Amerisure insured benefited from telematics and received surprising results when they discontinued their use. Amerisure has an insured, we'll call them Company X, that had telematics installed in their fleet of over 200 vehicles for approximately 3 years. During that time, improvement was seen in rear-ending trends. An example of rear-ending trends would be hard braking, which was observed during weekly driver performance reviews using telematics data. Improvement was also seen in accident severity and frequency during the time the telematics were in use. This is just a fancy way of saying they had considerably less accidents, and the accidents they did have had a lower value per claim than in the past. The long and short of it is that the use of telematics significantly changed driver behavior, which led to a decrease in loss ratio from 28% to 11% and cut the number of accident claims in half in just over 2 policy years. In mid-2022, Company X decided to stop using telematics. They simply thought they were not seeing any benefits for the cost and that most of their drivers were not having driving issues. As a result, Company X's accident frequency increased by 50%, and their loss ratio also increased to 53% in a year and a half after removal of their telematics program. As you may have guessed, the recurring trend after telematics were removed again was rear-end accidents. We now move on to a new topic on how trends in commercial auto are affecting businesses across the nation. There are regulatory trends, which are increases in the number of lawsuits and settlements. As a result, insurance companies find it difficult to predict the cost of a claim and potential liabilities they face. This leads to uncertainty and volatility in the market. There are financial trends which are observed through the rising cost of medical care, repairs, and other associated expenses such as theft, fuel waste, and logistical issues. There are also operational trends. An example would be the impact an at-fault accident can have on a company and its driver. Poor driving records impact the ability of a company to find qualified drivers. These trends have led to industry-wide rate increases for commercial auto coverage. And now we have our second poll question. The poll question is, what is reptile brain theory? Is it a night of bad decisions, a legal strategy that appeals to the emotions of jurors, or I have no idea? We'll give everyone some time to select their answer.
Okay, those answers are pouring in quickly here, Eric. We've got about 70% going. I'm going to give everybody about another 10 seconds to share your thoughts on reptile brain theory. Okay, and I'm going to end the poll. And here you go, Eric.
Okay, thanks, Anjali. It looks like a large percentage of you know or have heard of reptile brain theory, but there's a good percentage of you that have no idea. So luckily, we're going to touch on reptile brain theory now. So as we discuss and understand reptile brain theory and how it affects commercial auto insurance, one of the best ways to understand it is to start with the different parts of the brain, because that's what it targets. There are 3 parts of the brain, one that's responsible for logical reasoning and thinking, the other for emotional response, and then there are the so-called reptile section of the brain that's responsible for spontaneous, quick decisions and actions. The reptile brain theory seeks to have jurors make decisions using the reptile area of the brain, which is fueled by emotion. To make the reptile brain theory successful, attorneys use emotion to carve out rational thought and logical thinking from the decision-making process in order to get a favorable decision in court. There were large verdicts prior to the use of reptile brain theory. However, a lot of them had come from punitive damage awards. While those can produce large verdicts, the criteria to meet a punitive damages award and actually receive one is pretty stringent. It varies state by state, but it's not an easy hurdle to get over. So the reptile brain theory was conceived to get around those stringent requirements of punitive damages to bring the availability of large verdicts into the much easier world of negligence. The potential to use reptile brain theory in court was avoided in case study number 1 due to the use of dash cams. Auto claims are costing more, and not just from a property or physical damage standpoint. We're talking about not just the cost of items, but the cost of awards. This term we've heard frequently, social inflation, speaks to a trend of dramatic increases in costs and verdicts linked to civil litigation that surpass general economic inflation without a corresponding change in legal or factual basis to support them. Social inflation is impacting every liability claim. When that's combined with the reptile brain theory, this new dynamic of excessive verdicts is much more widespread and is quickly impacting virtually every claim. Let's take a look at an example of how large a claim can become when reptile brain theory is combined with social inflation. The negligence of 2 dangerous and distracted truck drivers caused the death of a college freshman who was returning home on a holiday weekend, which resulted in the industry's first billion-dollar award. Here are the details. It was Labor Day 2017 when an AJD business services driver was looking at his cell phone and slammed into the back of a car being trailered by an RV. The car flipped and burst into flames, causing a massive backup on Interstate 95. With only 1 lane of traffic open, the highway was like a parking lot. 18-year-old Connor was one of hundreds of stopped drivers waiting for his turn to proceed. Flashing warning signs were turned on, alerting drivers to the slowdown ahead. Unfortunately, a cash and carrier driver paid no attention, traveling on cruise control at 70 miles an hour when he slammed into 20 stopped cars. Sadly, Connor's vehicle took the brunt of the force, crushing his sedan into a crumpled heap of metal. The attorney for Connor's family determined the first trucker did not even have a commercial driver's license. He was hired without a proper background check, and his employer kept putting him behind the wheel despite a horrendous driving record, including a similar accident just months before Connor was killed. The company also paid cash under the table and encouraged its driver to skip weigh stations and drive over hours. The attorneys also obtained the black box of the cash and trucker and revealed that the first time he hit his brakes was just 1 second before impact, clearly showing he did not have his eyes on the road. He was on the 25th hour of a road trip from Quebec heading to South Florida, and it was determined he could not read the warning signs. After a week of dramatic testimony, the jury returned a verdict totaling over $1 billion, $100 million in compensatory damages, and $900 million in punitive damages. Now I'll hand things over to Nick.
Thank you, Eric. Now we're going to take a high-level look at different types of fleet technology and the impact they can have on your business. But first, we're going to do another poll question. This poll question is, what is the difference between GPS and telematics? A, GPS is a type of telematics. B, telematics is a type of GPS. C, telematics system includes GPS tracking data. D, GPS systems include telematic tracking data. Take a second or two and lock in your answers.
We have an active group today. We're getting a lot of answers really quick. We're about 75%. Nick, I'm going to give them a couple more minutes or a couple more seconds here. Sorry. Let's see. And we'll go ahead and close it out. And I'm going to share for you.
Great. Looks like a lot of you guys know what the difference is between GPS and telematics. For those who don't, when Eric and I go to do surveys, a lot of times we will ask the question if you have a telematic system in place. And often the answer we get is, yes, we do have a GPS system. They're just getting the two terms confused. But the difference is GPS devices tell us where our vehicles are located, and telematics system includes GPS tracking while also providing other meaningful information which your company can use to make strategic, financial, regulatory, and operational decisions, which Eric went over in the other slide. Telematics is so much more than GPS. Let's look at some facts regarding vehicle accidents. As this slide states, speeding is involved in a third of all motor vehicle fatalities. Drivers with moving violations are 43% more likely to be involved in future crash. So speeding is a moving violation, which means if we can reduce moving violations, we should be able to reduce fatalities in the process. As a business owner, more often than not, you are relying on others to drive company vehicles for you. And through the hiring process, you're hoping you're hiring drivers with safe driving habits. Once someone has become a driver, how can you determine if they're going to be a safe driver before it's too late? One way is through the use of telematics to determine what driving behaviors may contribute to future issues. This is also known as predictive data monitoring. Every telematic provider offers a system that monitors predicted data of some kind, whether it's speeding, heavy acceleration, hard braking, hard cornering. Telematic devices will be providing some type of feedback. This predicted data gives companies the ability to flag drivers displaying unsafe habits, coach those drivers, or remove drivers that are egregiously unsafe or continuously display undesirable habits after coaching. Outside of general safety, telematics systems can be beneficial to companies in other ways. Telematics solutions can provide real-time tracking, which can notify employers of vehicles' locations, which helps in theft prevention, improve route efficiency for a boost in fuel economy, and provide maintenance alerts, helping to ensure vehicles are in good working order so companies can get to their customers. Here's another Amerisure case study showing the benefit of telematics. In this case study, Amerisure pulled 26 accounts where we were losing more in claims than the accounts we're paying in premium. As you can imagine, this type of performance can put these accounts in danger of dramatic rate increases or a risk of potentially losing coverage. Before making either of those business decisions, Amerisure partnered with a telematic provider called GPS Insight. Through driver monitoring within 2 years, Amerisure was able to determine that those customers who started using GPS Insight telematics system and implemented a telematic program saw a 30% reduction in motor vehicle accident claims. These customers reduced the claims per 100,000 in premium from 19.9 to 5.2, an improvement of 68% in 2 years. Amerisure saw the loss ratio decrease from 117% to 30% by the end of the 2 years. For Amerisure, is more evidence that the right telematic program can reduce fleet exposure and associated costs. But we do need to pause here for just a second. It needs to be emphasized that the technology in this case was just a tool used to collect the data to help companies identify areas where changes need to be made. However, technology doesn't work unless companies using it have personnel dedicated to telematic programs to ensure monitoring is taking place, and when issues are arising, they are being addressed. If this step is not completed, then you're not likely to see any improvement with your fleet. And it doesn't matter the amount of technology that you purchase. Eric touched on this a little bit earlier. It was kind of a poll question, but dash cams, friends or foes? We get this question all the time during surveys, and I'm going to answer it up front for you. They are your friend. Companies with cameras are seeing a decrease of at-fault accidents, reducing lawsuits and costly settlements. Forward-facing cameras are capturing accidents, so it can be better determined how the collision and accident took place. Rear-facing cameras, also known as driver-facing cameras, are capturing positive and negative behavior the drivers may be displaying at the time of the accident. But the question that's often asked is, if my driver's captured on their phone, won't this hurt us? My question would be, are you monitoring your drivers? The implementation of dash cams should be correcting the behavior, so hopefully this isn't occurring. Or if it is occurring, your company is now aware of the issue and can take the appropriate corrective action before the incident occurs. If a dispute goes to court, the first thing the prosecuting attorney is going to do is pull the driver's cell phone records. Now, if you don't have dash cams, You may have the additional cost of fighting a claim only to find out your driver may not have been truthful when they said they weren't on their phone at the time of the accident. It's better to have all the information in hand so your company has the ability to make the best decision before legal action is taken. Other benefits, dash cams are directly correlated with the driver behavior change, leading to hazardous situation reduction. They improve driver morale in identifying and recognizing good driver behaviors, also called gamification. Real quick on gamification, for those who don't know what gamification is it breaks down the driver's score so they can know exactly what goes into the score, allowing them to understand how they're being evaluated. Gamification also provides actionable tips on how to improve the score. And the last benefit mentioned, we've talked about, is video evidence that you can use in the event of an accident. There are different models of dash cams on the market. Some use AI technology for driver safety. For instance, this dash cam pictured here is called Driver Eye. The model of dash camera uses AI to coordinate the data captured by the telematics system with the real-time video of the vehicle and the operator. What it does is it helps provide a full picture of the event that led to the alert. A quick example is you may receive harsh braking alert. The Driver Eye will put context around that behavior. You click on the alert and it will pull up when the event occurred and show you what took place prior, during, and after the event. Maybe an animal jumped out in front of your driver. Maybe they were following too close. Maybe they were on their phone. Instead of digging into all the footage and trying to match the alert in the video yourself, the Driver Eye camera will now capture that moment in time for you. Here's another case study performed by GPS Insight regarding the implementation of the Driver Eye smart camera. This case study shows two customers on different sides of the spectrum, a large logistic fleet and a small family-owned fleet. The transportation logistic fleet implemented the Driver Eye and saw a 59% reduction in claims the first year and an 82% in claims the second year. The small family-owned fleet saw a 65-point improvement in their crash score, which led to their insurance provider offering a 10% reduction for the next year. Both are great examples of fleet technology making a workplace safer and improving cost savings in the process. In this case, you're still not convinced, here are some testimonials from Samsara customers regarding implementation of fleet technology. A fleet of 550 vehicles cut harsh events by 88% using Samsara platform and driver gamification. Another Samsara customer wrote in that they had 18% fewer accidents after enhancing their coaching program. Another writes that the use of AI dash cams changed driver habits to reduce at-fault incidents by 88%. That provides another great case for cameras as your friend. Lastly, Sprint saw a $500,000 insurance decrease through improved safety after implementing fleet technology. That is a huge, huge savings. So what technology should I invest in? You should ask yourself a few questions before making a decision on fleet technology. What kind of information are you looking to collect? Besides GPS tracking, do I need a system that tracks idle speed, engine diagnostics, geofencing? What features will best help me solve my issues? Am I looking at driver performance? Am I looking at driver coaching? Do I need electronic logging? What type of assets are considered part of the fleet to be monitored? The device that's best for a pickup truck may not be the same device you need for a tractor trailer. Likewise, you might want compatible asset tracking devices for non-fleet vehicles such as bulldozers or trailers. And then, will the technology grow and change with my needs? As we all know, technology is constantly changing and advancing. It is always good to know what kind of ongoing support your telematic provider will bring to your business. Have a conversation with your potential provider regarding the future of their products. What you're looking for is a company that is continuously innovating to solve future problems. And importantly to us here at Amerisure, how can we help you? Amerisure wants to be a valued advisor during the selection and implementation process. Through our risk management experience, agency partnerships, vendor partnerships, we can help guide our accounts to a solution that makes sense for their fleet technology needs. Once the technology has been selected, Amerisure Management can help accounts implement the technology program, which is a critical step in setting up a successful marriage between the company and the new technology. If you are a current Amerisure account, or if you are one of our agency partnerships looking to assist an account with fleet technology solutions, please feel free to reach out to your local risk management consultant, or to Eric, or to myself. We'd love to assist you. And here we'd like to take a minute to recognize our Amerisure vendor partnerships. Currently, Amerisure is partnering with 2 vendors who are offering discounts for Amerisure customers. These vendors are GPS Insight and Samsara. GPS Insight is a top technological provider of GPS fleet technology, tracking and telematics software for businesses and agency with mobile assets. Using the GPS Insight vehicle and asset tracking solutions, customers will see an increase in efficiency and gain insight into all aspects of their fleet. GPS Insight technology does go beyond fleet technology. They also have a field service management system that assists in expediting scheduling, dispatching, and invoicing. So now I'm going to turn it over to Eric. He's going to tell you a little bit about Samsara and close us out.
Thanks, Nick. Samsara is the connected operations cloud company helping you improve the safety, efficiency, and sustainability of your operations. The platform is supported by connected operations products that capture data from across your operations, which allow you to manage all of your operations from a single dashboard. They offer customer solutions in video-based safety, vehicle telematics, apps and driver workflows, equipment monitoring, and site visibility. Amerisure customers are eligible for a discount because of our partnership with Samsara. We have discussed the highlights of both GPS Insight and Samsara. America has a partnership with both of them. However, there are a number of vendors that provide telematic services. Amerisure does not have a partnership with the vendors listed, and we do not endorse these specific vendors, but these options are also worth exploring and are also used by our policyholders. Hopefully, we have shown that telematics can be extremely beneficial to your organization. It doesn't matter which vendor you choose. Our only hope is that you move forward with telematics using the vendor that best suits your needs. If you'd like to get in touch with a vendor for demos, please contact your local Amerisure Risk Management consultant or contact the Risk Management Department on WebRM by scanning the QR code. You can also find WebRM link on our SureConnect portal under Risk Management. To summarize our webinar, The Case for Fleet Technology, telematic solutions are a win for everyone. Drivers receive a safer work environment, employers are seeing cost savings benefits, higher productivity, and fewer costly accidents. Insurance providers receive more comfort knowing companies are protecting their employees and fleets. Now I'll hand it back over to Anjali.
All right. Thanks so much, Eric and Nick. I hope all of our participants today enjoyed the webinar and got some useful information out of it. We're going to go ahead and take some time for questions now. We had a couple come in through the Q&A box. As we're going through these 2 questions, if anybody else has questions, please continue to add them in there and we'll get them addressed for you. So let's take a look. So our first question is says, what are the costs associated with this program? So Eric and Nick, would either of you like to address that?
Yeah, sure. I can take that question. So we ask that, we ask and the vendors ask that you go through the process of actually speaking to the vendor directly in order to get pricing, because pricing is going to vary widely based on the amount of vehicles in your fleet and the other types of services you may want. So let's say you want telematics, or say you want dash cams, and you also want security cameras, and you've got a fleet of 150 vehicles. Well, that may be, your pricing may be different than a fleet of, say, 10 vehicles that only want just basic telematics. So unfortunately, we're not providing pricing for our vendors because it's going to vary, and whatever price we give will be largely inadequate based on your needs.
That's right. They may be able to offer you a better discount than what we can tell you here.
Exactly. And I think the point to get across that we had, I think it was in study number 2, is that at the end of the day, investing in fleet technology is just that. It's an investment. And so, but the benefits far outweigh the costs, I think, at the end, from what we could see from there, as far as reduction in accidents and reduction in fleet exposures as well. If you have any additional questions, like I said, you can reach out to your risk management consultant, and doing the demos will definitely get you a better idea about the quotes and pricing for your specific company and your specific needs. We have another question, and this is one that we get quite often, and it might be a little bit difficult to answer here, but I do want to turn this over to Nick and Eric. So how do you implement cameras into employee-owned vehicles that are used in your business?
That is a very difficult question to answer. That is, we have to tread lightly there. You need to get their consent, first of all. That is definitely one thing that you have to do. And then put parameters around when they were going to be monitored, how it's going to be monitored. You need a telematic program in place, as we discussed earlier. That's going to be a part of this whole process. And then lay out the guidelines in that program. I can't go much beyond that, really, because every case is going to be different. But those are some good starting points for sure.
And I know some of the vendors do have capabilities for the time periods that they're monitored as well. Like you can start it at a certain point of the day on a work day and end it at a certain point of the day as well, like in the evening. So definitely something to discuss specifically with the vendor that you're going through to see if it's a solution for you.
Yeah, and then too, if this is from an Amerisure account or agency, if you want to get with us after this and kind of go through this specifics on this particular account, let us know and we'll be glad to talk about it.
Next question here. So they said the number one question that comes up when I have this discussion is, do I receive better rates from my insurance company if I implement or invest in this technology? Could you talk about this a little bit? And I'm happy to take that one if you all are okay
sure.
with that. Yeah. So I will say with Amerisure, there's no specific discount given for signing up with fleet technology. The savings comes from a decrease in your loss ratio, a decrease in claim severity and frequency, and just a continued improvement of the fleet program. And so what you see is year after year, when those things are consistently being shown because of the dedication and commitment to these types of proactive solutions, then come the decrease in the rates and the decrease in the insurance rates. So that's where you see the savings. So you're not spending a whole bunch on auto claims because you're not really having them. You're getting the right drivers in the seats to begin with. And then with continued showing of that improvement, then that's a discussion with your agent and your underwriter. But yes, there can be savings in the long run. It's just there's not a specific discount given immediately. As my husband likes to say, it's like delayed gratification of waiting for that to happen, right? Waiting for the good outcome to come once these things are implemented. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any other specific questions on that, again, you can get with us, get with your agent, get with your underwriter, and we can go through that also with you. Thank you very much. So those are the questions. Oh, we have one more come in. All right. Do you forecast this might be required in the future to be insured? And I think that's just in general, not an Amerisure insured, but just in general.
I can't say that for certain. I would say that it's probably headed that way as poorly as fleets are performing across the nation right now. I know just auto insurance overall is not the most profitable line of insurance. I think we can all agree on that. And we are seeing a great benefit to those accounts. And when the case studies show it, we're seeing a great benefit to those accounts who are implementing the fleet technology, whether it's cameras or a telematic system. So right now, can we say that it's going to be required? No, we can't say that, but it is definitely forecasting, as you put it, a benefit in all accounts that are going to that.
And then the last question here is that we just got in was, what type of discount are these vendors offering as an Amerisure customer and going with their service? And I think we can probably give just a baseline, but again, it's not going to be reflective of what could be if you have a discussion of your specific needs with the vendor. So I'll turn that over to you, Nick and Eric.
Yeah, the discount can vary greatly, anywhere from 5 to 25% off of the so-called list price of the telematics. But once again, that varies greatly based on the account size, what types of products you're interested in, and implementation.
Thank you. And I know that's such a vague question. We just don't want to, kind of pigeonhole ourselves into the discount, because you could be getting something much better than just that initial baseline. And so we just want you to keep that in consideration when you have these discussions, because it's very well worth the investment. Let's see. And then we have a question: will this video be available to watch later? Yes, it will. So that brings me to this part. So yes, we're going to have this recorded. Probably, let's see, we're Thursday. I'd say by Monday or Tuesday, look for an email with a follow-up from Amerisure. There'll be a link to the recording where you can watch this, show this to anybody else in your company that you think would be interested in learning some of this information. For our agents out there, if this is something, especially with the case studies, and a lot of the proof behind the effectiveness of these technologies, if you want to show that to your customers, Amerisure customers or not, please feel free to. Once we do send out the recording, you can also find it in our Sure Connect portal. If you're a policyholder or agent with Amerisure, under Risk Management Resources, there is a section for recorded webinars, and it'll be listed there as well. And let me see. Great. Okay. And we just got a couple of comments here to say, great, thank you. So happy to hear it. I think we've covered all of our questions. Again, look for that email, look for the recording. For that, if you have any questions, there's the WebRM QR code. If you didn't feel comfortable asking right now, follow up there. We'll get back with you, or look for us again in the Sure Connect portal under WebRM. Also reach out to your local risk management consultant. We're so glad you're here. You were here today. If you're returning and you've been part of our series over the past couple of years, we're so glad you're back. If you're new to us, we hope you'll see us next time. We've got another webinar coming up next quarter, and we'll be sending some information out about that and that topic here in the next few weeks. Thanks so much for your time and spending the afternoon with us.